he got the biggest applause. Thank you, my brother.
Ghana just tore up a $1.2 billion bauxite deal, ending a local company's dream and opening the door to foreign mining giants. The move targets one of West Africa's richest untapped reserves, shaking up the entire aluminum game. Why kill a billion-dollar deal? And why now, with global players circling? Let's find that out. The news broke quietly at first, like a whisper in across political circles, then roared across financial desks worldwide. Ghana had canceled the $1.2 billion bauxite lease awarded to Rocksure International. A deal once touted as a symbol of local empowerment and industrial self-sufficiency is now a historical footnote, leaving behind more questions than answers. This wasn't a routine contract termination, it was a seismic shift. The agreement involved the Ninahin Hills in central Ghana, a site holding an estimated 376 million metric tons of bauxite, one of the largest untapped deposits in West Africa. It was supposed to be the foundation of Ghana's first truly integrated aluminum industry, pairing mining operations with an alumina refinery designed to keep value addition inside the country. The promise was bold: new jobs, new infrastructure, and new revenue streams, all driven by a Ghanaian company taking the lead. Yet, in a single government announcement, all of that was gone. The justification was legalistic at first glance. The lease had never been ratified by Parliament. But beneath the paperwork lies a far deeper story about how Ghana wants to position itself in the world. By walking away from Rocksure, the government effectively declared that the next chapter of Ghana's mining future would not be driven by small domestic players, but by heavyweights with the capital, technology, and international networks to turn vision into reality. Almost immediately after the termination, international signals emerged. Dubai-based Emirates Global Aluminum EGA, one of the world's top aluminum producers, confirmed it had signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation, GIADEC, to explore development opportunities in Ghana. Chinese companies, too, have reportedly begun engaging quietly behind the scenes, exploring partnerships that could unlock not just mining, but also full-scale refining infrastructure. The timing is critical. Global aluminum demand is skyrocketing, fueled by electric vehicles, renewable energy grids, and aerospace manufacturing. For a country like Ghana, sitting on an estimated 900 million metric tons of bauxite, this isn't just about mining, it's about becoming part of the new industrial economy. But that opportunity has to be seized fast, and Ghana appears convinced it can no longer wait for local companies to scale up. There are also geopolitical undertones. Rocksure's deal had symbolized Ghana's desire to keep more control of its resources. Now, critics worry that inviting foreign giants may shift economic power outside Ghana's borders. Supporters counter that without massive investment and advanced technology, the country risks falling further behind neighbors like Guinea, which has already become China's primary bauxite supplier. And then there's the question no one is yet answering: why now? The lease had been in limbo for years without parliamentary approval. Why choose this moment to cancel it and pivot toward foreign investors? Was it just about legality, or is there an urgent financial and strategic calculation behind the scenes? Whatever the reason, one thing is clear: Ghana is rewriting its resource policy in real time. The Ninahin Hills project, once seen as a slow-moving local venture, has become an international chess piece in the fight for control of one of the world's most critical industrial raw materials. But what exactly caused this contract to fail so spectacularly? And why does it matter beyond Ghana's borders? The unraveling of Rocksure International's deal wasn't just a case of missed signatures or bureaucratic delay. It was the collision of law, politics, and ambition. For years, the project sat in a legal gray zone because it lacked the single element that validates major mining agreements in Ghana: parliamentary ratification. In the wake of a 2019 Supreme Court ruling, any mineral lease not formally approved by Parliament is automatically null and void. Rocksure's deal fell squarely into that category, but the government's silence on the matter kept it technically alive until now. To understand why the government finally acted, you have to step back and look at what the deal represented. Rocksure International, a Ghanaian company, had a controlling 70% stake in the joint venture known as the Asante Bauxite Company. The remaining shares were split between the state-owned Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation, GIADEC, with 20% and the government with 10%. On paper, it was a patriotic model, a local company leading a strategic industry with state support. But behind the scenes, the numbers didn't add up. The project required billions in financing to build not only the mine at Ninahin, but also an alumina refinery, capital-intensive infrastructure that no local firm had successfully executed before. Rockshore promised it could deliver, but financing never materialized at the scale required. Instead, progress stagnated. After 3 years, the project remained mostly on paper, with no significant development milestones achieved. This lack of visible progress was a growing problem. Ghana's aluminum ambitions had already lagged behind regional competitors, particularly Guinea, which in the same timeframe had signed multiple billion-dollar agreements with Chinese and Middle Eastern investors to expand its mining output and refining capacity. While Guinea was shipping millions of tons of bauxite each year to China's aluminum refineries, Ghana was still debating contract terms. Inside government circles, frustration mounted. There were whispers about whether keeping Rockshore in the driver's seat was worth the opportunity cost, given that global players were actively seeking new sources of bauxite as supply chains shifted worldwide. By early 2025, as Ghana's economic agenda began to emphasize industrialization and foreign investment, patience with the Rockshore model ran out. There was also a political calculation. Allowing a local company to lead might have been a popular choice when nationalism and resource sovereignty dominated the narrative, but the administration faced pressure to deliver tangible results, jobs, revenue, and infrastructure. Without a fully ratified lease and with no major investor backing, Rockshore had become a liability. The timing of the cancellation coincided with a larger policy pivot. Ghana's Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources quietly began signaling interest in partnering with established mining giants who could not only finance extraction but also build value-adding facilities. The emphasis shifted from symbolism to scale. Rockshore's failure to meet funding and development expectations provided the perfect justification to reset the strategy. Legally, the government leaned on the Supreme Court precedent. Without parliamentary ratification, the lease was void ab initio, meaning it never truly existed in the eyes of the law. Politically, it allowed the administration to say it was cleaning up past missteps while positioning the country for a new phase of industrial expansion. Yet, the cancellation has sparked its debate. Was Rockshore given an impossible task from the start, or was it a victim of Ghana's shifting priorities? Could Parliament have saved the deal had it acted sooner, or was this pivot toward international partners inevitable in an era where speed and capital rule resource development? Those questions now hang over Ghana's mining policy. But one thing is clear. The collapse wasn't a spontaneous act. It was the culmination of legal vulnerability, financial shortfalls, and a government that wanted a faster, bigger path to industrialization. So, with the local player out of the picture, what makes Ghana's bauxite so attractive that global heavyweights are rushing in? Let's pause for a second to say, big thank you to the Black Culture Diary community, where Black voices, stories, and legacies are preserved and amplified. By becoming a member, you're not just supporting the channel, you're becoming part of a powerful cultural movement. Let's continue. With the Rockshore contract now history, the spotlight shifts to the heart of Ghana's ambition, the resource itself. Few countries are as strategically positioned as Ghana when it comes to bauxite. Beneath its soil lies an estimated 900 million metric tons of this critical ore, placing the country 7th globally in known reserves. Yet for decades, Ghana has struggled to convert this geological advantage into an industrial powerhouse, leaving much of its bauxite wealth locked away or exported in raw form with minimal value addition. The Ninahin Hills deposit, the epicenter of the now canceled deal, is a jewel in that crown. Estimated at 376 million metric tons, it represents one of West Africa's largest untapped bauxite reserves. To put that in perspective, Ninahin alone holds enough ore to feed a modern alumina refinery for decades, supporting downstream industries from packaging to aviation. But tapping into that potential isn't just about digging up ore. It's about building an ecosystem capable of processing it into alumina and eventually smelting it into aluminum. That ecosystem has always been Ghana's missing link. The country's aluminum dreams date back to the 1960s, when the Volta Aluminum Company Valco was established as part of Kwame Nkrumah's industrialization agenda. But decades of underinvestment, shifting political priorities, and reliance on raw exports stalled progress. As a result, Ghana's neighbors, particularly Guinea, pulled far ahead, becoming a global hub for bauxite supply, particularly to China's booming aluminum industry. The cancellation of the Rockshore lease has, paradoxically, given Ghana a chance to reset. Rather than inching forward with a local firm struggling for capital, the government is now actively seeking partners who bring not just mining experience but full industrial capacity. This is where companies like Emirates Global Aluminum EGA and several Chinese mining giants come in. These are firms that don't just mine, they build refineries, power plants, ports, and rail networks. For Ghana, which has long struggled to fund such infrastructure internally, these partnerships could be transformative. There's also a geopolitical element to Ghana's new approach. Aluminum is not just another industrial metal. It's critical for sectors shaping the future economy: electric vehicles, renewable energy grids, aerospace, and advanced packaging. Countries with secure access to aluminum inputs like bauxite and alumina are better positioned to ride these growth waves. Ghana's move to invite global players signals its intention to not only monetize its resources, but to embed itself in the global aluminum supply chain in a way it has never managed before. But this pivot comes with calculated risks. Bringing in foreign giants could accelerate development, but it could also alter the balance of control over Ghana's natural resources. Will these new partnerships focus on in-country value addition, or will Ghana end up exporting raw ore under new management, repeating historical patterns? The government insists that any new agreement will prioritize domestic processing and job creation, but skeptics argue that foreign investors often prioritize fast returns, which can mean bypassing local industries in favor of export. Still, for Ghana, the stakes are too high to maintain the status quo. The aluminum market is entering a period of unprecedented demand, and countries like China and the UAE are aggressively securing supply sources worldwide. By opening its doors to these players, Ghana is effectively betting its future on becoming a regional hub for aluminum production, rather than a perpetual exporter of unprocessed ore. This strategic pivot is what makes the cancellation of Rockshore's lease more than a contract issue. It's a turning point for Ghana's economic vision. The question now is whether Ghana can attract the right partners and structure deals that finally unlock the value of its vast bauxite wealth without repeating old mistakes. And at the center of those new partnerships is one name standing out more than any other: Emirates Global Aluminum. Why is EGA suddenly so interested, and what does its arrival mean for Ghana's aluminum ambitions? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. When Ghana announced it was seeking new partners to unlock its bauxite potential, one name surfaced almost immediately: Emirates Global Aluminum EGA. For those who follow global resource dynamics, EGA's interest is more than opportunistic. It's strategic. The company is the world's largest premium aluminum producer, controlling every stage of production, from mining bauxite to refining alumina and smelting aluminum. Its entry into Ghana's bauxite landscape signals that this is not just another mining contract, but a shift with far-reaching global implications. EGA's journey into West Africa has been complicated. Back in 2022, it had quietly evaluated investment opportunities in Ghana but hesitated. The reason? It has existing operations in Guinea, where it holds a lucrative mining license. For years, EGA sourced bauxite from Guinea to feed its facilities in the United Arab Emirates, where it operates one of the world's largest aluminum smelters. But EGA was cautious not to offend Guinea by appearing to divert focus elsewhere, particularly at a time when African countries are sensitive about resource nationalism. Fast forward to 2025, and the equation has changed. Guinea revoked EGA's mining license after delays in constructing a promised alumina refinery, leaving EGA scrambling to secure alternative supply chains. Ghana's Ninahian Hills deposit, with its high-quality ore and untapped development potential, suddenly looked like the perfect fit. Within weeks of Ghana canceling Rockshore's lease, EGA signed a Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation (GIADEC). Although non-binding, this MOU marks a significant step. EGA is now formally exploring how to invest in both mining and refining infrastructure in Ghana. Why is EGA so critical for Ghana? First, it brings capital at scale. Building an integrated aluminum industry requires billions, not just to dig ore, but to construct refineries, build transport links, ensure a consistent power supply, and secure downstream industries. Few companies have both the financial strength and the integrated expertise to deliver all that. EGA does. Its track record includes building one of the world's most advanced smelting operations from scratch in the UAE, as well as managing supply chains across multiple continents. Second, EGA offers market security. Aluminum is a volatile commodity, heavily influenced by global cycles, trade wars, and energy costs. By aligning with a vertically integrated giant, Ghana gains an offtake partner that can guarantee steady demand and stable pricing for its alumina and aluminum output, insulating it from some market turbulence. For a country trying to diversify beyond raw material exports, that stability is critical. Third, EGA's interest strengthens Ghana's geopolitical positioning. In recent years, resource deals in Africa have been dominated by China, often leading to debates over debt dependence and strategic leverage. By courting a Middle Eastern partner like EGA, Ghana can diversify its international alliances, reduce over-reliance on a single bloc, and create more balanced competition for its resources. However, there's nuance to this partnership. EGA isn't just looking for ore, it's looking for a foothold in Africa's growing aluminum ecosystem. As global aluminum demand rises due to electric vehicles, renewable energy, and the packaging industries, Africa's reserves are becoming increasingly strategic. Ghana offers a politically stable environment compared to some of its neighbors, along with an administration actively pushing industrialization. For Ghana, bringing in EGA also comes with expectations. Will the company commit to local value addition, building refineries and creating jobs, rather than simply exporting raw bauxite? Will Ghana negotiate strong clauses for technology transfer and skills training? And crucially, will this partnership avoid the pitfalls of past resource deals where foreign firms dominated profits while local communities saw little benefit? EGA's arrival is, therefore, a potential game changer, but also a test. Can Ghana craft modern resource contracts that balance foreign capital with local development? If EGA commits to a full-scale integrated operation, Ghana could leapfrog from being an exporter of raw ore to a regional hub for refined aluminum products. Yet even with EGA stepping forward, Ghana's pivot to global investors raises another critical question. What does this mean for Ghana's long-term economic independence and regional competition? That question frames the final part of this story. Ghana's decision to cancel a homegrown $1.2 billion deal and invite global giants like Emirates Global Aluminium EGA is not just about one mining site. It's about reshaping its economic identity and regional influence. The Ninahian Hills deposit, rich in high-quality bauxite, has become a pivot point for Ghana's broader ambition to break free from being a raw material exporter and claim a central role in the global aluminum value chain. For decades, Ghana's resource story has been dominated by gold and cocoa. Bauxite, despite being abundant, remained an underutilized opportunity. With global demand for aluminum surging, driven by electric vehicles, renewable energy infrastructure, and lightweight construction materials, this decision positions Ghana to finally move up the value ladder. Instead of simply digging ore and shipping it abroad, Ghana now has a chance to host refineries, smelters, and manufacturing plants that produce finished products for global markets. This shift could ripple across West Africa. Guinea, long the continent's dominant bauxite supplier, has largely focused on exporting raw ore to China. If Ghana succeeds in building an integrated aluminum industry, it would not only compete regionally, but also offer an alternative supply chain model, one anchored in local processing and regional value addition. For African nations frustrated by decades of resource exploitation with little domestic benefit, Ghana's experiment could serve as a blueprint or a cautionary tale, depending on how it unfolds. Economically, the implications are huge. An integrated aluminum sector could generate thousands of skilled jobs, expand Ghana's industrial base, and attract downstream industries like cable manufacturing, automotive parts, and packaging. It could also enhance Ghana's fiscal resilience by diversifying export earnings beyond volatile gold markets. That's why policymakers are treating this pivot not as a simple contract renegotiation, but as a strategic industrial decision that could influence GDP growth for decades. Yet the stakes are just as high on the political front. By courting foreign partners, Ghana is navigating a delicate balance between sovereignty and globalization. Critics argue that relying on multinational giants could weaken local control and repeat the historical patterns where resource wealth leaves without transforming domestic economies. Advocates counter that in today's capital-intensive industries, global partnerships are unavoidable and can deliver faster results if structured properly. The real challenge lies in contract design, ensuring that local communities benefit from jobs and infrastructure, that environmental safeguards are enforced, and that profits are fairly shared. There is also a subtle geopolitical dimension. In recent years, Africa's resource map has been dominated by China, whose state-backed firms have secured long-term supply contracts in nearly every mineral-rich region. By inviting a Middle Eastern powerhouse like EGA, Ghana is not just diversifying investors, it is signaling a willingness to play multiple global partners off each other. This approach could give Ghana more leverage in negotiations and reduce the risks associated with overdependence on any single country. Still, success is not guaranteed. Integrated industries require more than ore and investment. They need stable energy supplies, efficient transport networks, and skilled labor. Ghana's infrastructure gaps, particularly in rail and power, will need urgent attention if it is to fully realize its aluminum ambitions. Moreover, local expectations are high. After canceling a Ghanaian-led project, the government will face pressure to prove that bringing in foreign giants delivers tangible benefits to ordinary citizens. In short, Ghana's bauxite pivot is about more than one mine. It's a test of whether the country can transition from a raw commodity exporter to a modern industrial hub without losing control of its resources. It's about whether resource-rich African nations can leverage global partnerships to accelerate development on their terms, rather than becoming just another node in someone else's supply chain. The coming years will show if Ghana's gamble pays off, or if it becomes another example of Africa's long struggle to translate natural wealth into lasting prosperity. Will Ghana's pivot to foreign giants truly build a local aluminum industry or just deepen export dependence? Let us know in the comments section. Can Ghana balance resource sovereignty with the global capital it now seeks? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.